Let's take a lot of the ideas that we've looked at this week and put them together into a little game that's controlled by the keyboard. Of course, we always start with design, so I spent a long time creating a very detailed and precise specification for this game, and it looks like this. So here's the idea of the game. On the left, there's a circle, and it's moving up and down. It's bouncing off the top and bottom of the screen. On the right is a rectangle. It's also moving up and down, but at a different speed. You are the circle on the left. That's the player character. And the idea is that when you hit the space key, a little dart in the middle gets sent out from the circle, traveling to the right. And it travels to the right until either it's inside the goal. If it just happens to reach the area where the box is moving up and down at the right moment, such that it's inside the box, that's a goal and we get points. Otherwise, it continues on, it falls off the right-hand side of the screen, and that's a miss, and we lose a few points. And that's the whole game. To help me write the code, I will name these three things. And so the circle, I'll call P for the player character. The box on the right-hand side, I'll call G for the goal. And the little dart that I fire in the middle, I will call D for dart. I'm picking these one character names for things so that I can use a nice big typeface in my code and show you what's going on the screen. When you're writing your own program, I strongly recommend using better names than these. Again, this is just so that I can put a lot of stuff on the screen and use a big font. And the only way to do that is to keep everything incredibly short. But if I was writing this game for real, I would call the thing on the left player, and the thing on the right goal, and the thing in the middle disc or dart. I wouldn't use just these one-letter abbreviations. Again, this is just so that we can make a nice video. Here's a completely generic setup. I'm going to pick a small graphics window so I can fit it on the screen along with the code, and you can see them both at once. And then I'll call smooth. Let's write a really simple draw. All it's going to do is clear the background to a background color. And so, of course, we need to create that global variable background color. There it is. Let's run this and make sure that everything is okay so far. It certainly should be, but it never hurts to check. Okay, great. We have our light blue background and the program runs. So let's start writing the program. On every frame, of course, I'm going to want to draw the player character. So let's write a little routine called draw P. And what is draw P going to do? I don't know, but let's write one. So there's an empty little draw P, and again, just to make sure everything's working, we can run this. Nothing interesting is going to happen. Great. In my sketch, the player character is a circle. So let's go ahead and draw a little circle. We'll fill with some global variable called P color, and then we'll draw an ellipse at px, py with 2 times the radius of my player character circle. So now I have to declare these global variables, so let's go ahead and do that. I know I want the circle near the left-hand side of the screen, so we'll start the x value of the player character at 100, and let's put the y value at, say, 50. And then I need a radius. I don't know, let's make it 50. We'll see if that looks good. And then finally, we need a color. And I actually went to my online color picker, and I picked a nice color. So let's go ahead and run this and make sure we're getting a circle in the upper left. Sure enough, there it is. You know what? I don't think I want to have that black stroke around it. So, I bet I'm not going to want strokes around anything. So I'm going to put no stroke inside of setup. And I may change my mind later. I may decide to put strokes around some things and not others. But okay, that's looking good. It's actually sort of like a sun in a blue sky. But it's a good start to our program. So now that we're drawing the player, let's also draw the goal. And draw G is going to look just like draw P. So I'm just going to copy and paste. And I'll change draw P to be draw G. Whoops. I'll fill with the G color. I don't want to draw an ellipse. I want to draw a rectangle. Left top. And then these will be G width and G height. Tell you what, let's keep them super short. GW and GH. So we need global variables for these things. Let's create them. And after all the P's, let's put the goal sort of at the right-hand side of the screen, 350. It'll start out at a Y value of 50, width of 75, height of 150. I don't know, those seem like good places to start. And then finally, my color, G color, I've picked that off of my color picker. So I'll just read that off the screen, and let's run this. And we should get a rectangle on the right-hand side. Great. And it's nice and green, so we know that's our goal. Like the green on a golf course. Now nothing is moving yet, so I'll tell you what, let's get things moving. Let's go back to the definition of draw P, and I know I want the player character, this circle, to be moving up and down. So on every frame, I will add something, the player move in Y value, which I'll call PMY, some global variable. I don't know what that should be. Let's try 3.5. Let's see how that looks. So the circle will move down by 3.5 units on every frame. Let's go ahead and run that and see how that looks. It's a little too fast, and of course it falls off the bottom of the screen. So tell you what, I'm going to slow it down from 3.5 to 2.5. And now I want to make sure it doesn't go off the screen. So I'll write the same code that we saw for the bouncing ball. I'll say if py minus pr is less than 0, or py plus pr is greater than height, which is the height of the screen, then we reverse direction, and we compensate for the fact that we already moved. Great. Now if I run this, my little circle should bounce off the top and bottom of the screen. And sure enough, it's doing just the right thing. Great. Let's do the same thing for the goal. Well, it's going to be the very same code, so I'll tell you what, I'm going to anticipate what I need. I'm going to create a change for the goal. I don't know, let's say it's going to move 4 units on every frame. And I'm just going to copy and paste this code and paste it into G, and we'll change that the goal Y. And then if I say, now for a rectangle, the goal Y is the top of the rectangle, and its bottom is goal Y plus goal height. And then we turn the goal direction around, and we add 2 to the goal, and let's see how that runs. That's looking pretty good. So now I need to figure out how to shoot the little dart. So how are we going to manage that? I'm going to have a global variable that tells me whether a dart is active, whether there's a dart flying on the screen or not. Initially, it will be false, and when we hit the space key, the dart will become active. So let's get just that much working. I'll create a new global variable, and we'll call it dActive, and we'll set it to be false. And sometimes we are going to be drawing this thing, and so we'll call something called draw D, draw the dart. And let's write draw the dart first, void draw D. And the first thing we'll do is we'll say if, and what was the name of that global variable? Dactive. So if the dart is not active, if dactive is not true, then we return. We don't draw anything. Otherwise, I'm going to draw something really dumb. I'm going to draw something bright red, and I'm going to draw a rectangle, huge rectangle in the middle of the screen, just to let me know I'm drawing the rectangle. Ultimately, that's going to be our little moving dart, but at least this lets me know if the thing is being drawn. So how do I fire a dart? Well, I'm going to press some sort of a key. So let's implement a key typed routine. And I'll use the space key because that seems easy. So if the key is equal to space, I'm going to do something. And all I'm going to do is set dActive to be the opposite of what it was. So if it was false, this makes it true. If it's true, this makes it false. So let's go ahead and run this and see if everything is working right. And we have an error. And I typed dActive with a lowercase a, but it should have an uppercase, and so I know that those have to change as well. And so let's run this, and now I'll hit the space bar. Bam. Okay. I know that this is working. I hit the space bar again, it goes off. I hit the space bar, it comes on. I hit the space bar, it goes off. So the space bar is working and it's drawing something. Now that I think about it, I really don't want the dart to go away when I hit the space bar. Maybe every time I hit the space bar, it should fire a new dart. So I'll tell you what, inside of key typed, if you press the key, I'll say that the dart is now active. So what is the dart and how do we describe it? We'll take that up in part 2.